Well, what I'm saying is that in general, you can condition your players while they're playing football. Because if you play games, for example, 4 versus 4, and you play 12 games of 1 minute, and at one stage the players have 2 minutes rest, and at a certain stage, a few months later, they only have 1 minute rest, then basically what you're doing is that the players are just playing, but in the meantime, the bodies of the player have to deal with the fact that there is less rest between football. So the body will learn to recover more quickly. And ultimately, in the game, players are able to recover more quickly and make more actions and play with a higher intensity. So in general, you can condition your players while they're playing football.
Of course, you worked at Barcelona also, Raymond, under Frank Rijkaard. Tell us a bit about your project there.
Basically what we did was we developed, let's say, long-term fitness. Because a lot of coaches in pre-season are so focused on fitness training that they do a lot of fitness training in a short period of time. And it's very clear in the physiological science that if you develop fitness quickly, that in reality you develop short-term fitness. And that's why a lot of football players at the end of the season are breaking down, because there has been developed short-term fitness. So what we did is we developed long-term fitness by gradually develop the fitness of the players. So at the end of the season they were still very fit.
So what would you say then if I told you that majority of youth coaches in Australia will spend at least 10, 15 minutes, maybe more, maybe a third of many of their sessions doing fitness work which has no relevance to football, running around cones and flags?
After 10 years, even at the highest level, my experience is that fitness is never the difference between levels of play. It's the football skill that makes a difference. The speed of your actions, your knowledge of the game, your game insight. That's, at the end of the day, your technique decides if you're a good player. And if you're a good player, then the next step is that you try to make this good player as fit as possible. But that's the perspective of fitness. And what you see now is that people start with fitness and they think that a fit player is a better player. And that's a misunderstanding, I think. It's the tactical insight and the technique of players at the end of the day that makes the difference. So the youth program should be based on those principles. The players in Australia should be developed in a technical way and a tactical way. And when you do that, you will get better players. And at a certain age, you want those players also to be as fit as possible. And then you can also make use of the brilliant knowledge in Australia, because everybody in the world knows that Australia is one of the front runners in terms of knowledge in strength and conditioning. But if you look at it from that perspective, then football is the reference and strength and conditioning is part of that reference. And like I said before, if I look at it right now, then you have a football reference and a strength and conditioning reference, and sometimes the strength and conditioning coach is even in charge of the football reference. So the challenge, I think, in Australia is to put things a little bit more into a football perspective.
One thing about Australians is we like the theory, but we like to see results. We like to see that it has worked. Your record at professional and international level is beyond question. What about at youth level then? I understand that you worked with Feyenoord, you took over their whole youth program. Tell us about the results.
Yeah, I was brought to Feyenoord in 2006 because I always say as a joke that the Feyenoord youth system was well known all over the world for not producing first team players. And of course that's a little bit cynical, but that's the way people look at it in Holland. So they brought me in and they wanted me and all the other people in the youth department to change that. And so what we did was we introduced this football philosophy into the youth system of Feyenoord. We went from 6 training sessions a week to 4 training sessions a week, so the focus was on quality. Which means that players were only training once a day instead of twice a day sometimes, because that is what they did in the past. So only 1 training session a day and a free day in the middle of the week. And therefore we created a situation that players were rested when they started each new training session. So each training session was at 100%. So we got a lot of intensity and a lot of quality in all of those 4 sessions. And basically what the players did was they only played football for the whole training session. So there was no strength training, there was no separate conditioning training. The other thing that we skipped was the static stretching, because in literature you can see that there is no relationship between static stretching and injury prevention, because that's what people say. You have to stretch statically to prevent injury. Well, if you look at the literature, there is not a single study that has proven this hypothesis. So we skipped all the static stretching, and by doing that you win another 5 or 10 minutes football time. So basically what we did was we didn't waste any football time. 4 sessions of 75 to 90 minutes a week, only playing football. And by doing that, we made a huge improvement within the system.